Hello and welcome to this edition of I for Biz. I'm Siobhan Reed, the chair of the Dunwoody Perimeter Chamber, where our mission is advancing economic prosperity for all. Today we have Miss Nichelle Jones of Jones Health and Benefits. Hello, Nichelle. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I am doing excellent. Just multitasking here, on dual mommy duty as well as chamber duty.
Yes, I can relate.
Yes, for sure. You have a 4-year-old, right?
I do. So I can definitely relate to multitasking on an everyday basis. So yes.
Well, I'm super excited to talk with you and learn more about your company. So, right now we're right in the thrux of benefit season. So, everyone has a question, I'm sure, about insurance because it's this whole big space, right? And it's kind of hard to really zero in and understand all the different intricacies and details. But you're an expert and you're here to tell us all about what we should expect this enrollment season.
Yes,
So,
definitely. Mhm.
tell us about your company.
Yes, at Jones Health and Benefits, organization I founded more than 10 years ago. My corporate career prior to that, my background was in HR and in benefits for large organizations, and wanted the opportunity to kind of spin off and help individuals in a smaller space, whether you're a small business, an entrepreneur, retiree, or just someone that needs coverage for yourself and your family and don't have access to it through your current employer.
Awesome. So now you're also tied into the SMART programs benefits as well.
Yes. So for small businesses that are looking to, especially looking to put in benefits, the chamber plans, the smart chamber plans are an excellent way to start your benefits or move benefits over to the Anthem Blue Cross plans. These plans are in a special pool versus the rest of the small group benefits. So there's special plan designs and pricing that's available to those people in those businesses that want to set up or transfer your benefits into that program. And I'm able to facilitate that process for you.
Okay. And is there a minimum amount of employees that individual or companies can engage with you? And do you have personal plans as well?
Yes. So for Jones Health and Benefits, typically I like to work with businesses that have at least about 3 to 4 employees. And
Mhm,
by employees, I mean W-2 employees, not
mhm,
1099.
mhm.
So you've been in business for maybe a year or two, or maybe you've worked on a couple of contracts. So there's going to be some stability in terms of revenue there. And then, of course, you're in a growth pattern. So I can be able to put in your core benefits and then add as your business grows and your staffing grows, enhance your business benefits at that point as well. If you're on the individual side, yes, I can definitely help you set up your own benefits for yourself, establishing your health, dental, life, disability, vision coverage, all of those things for yourself and or your family members as well.
Okay, so when it comes to the personal plans, though, do you have access, I guess, through the SMART program to have the group benefits tied into without having to be eligible on an individual basis? So, is there anything related to guaranteed insurability that the people need to know about?
Yeah, so essentially because of the Affordable Care Act from several years ago, I think it's more than 10 years now,
Hmm.
you can now get insurance either as a group or as an individual without having to go through underwriting. So I should say you wouldn't have to be declined for coverage.
Hmm.
Now, if you're a group here in the state of Georgia, for instance, you need to have at least 2 employees. And then once you get over and I should say that's for the carrier's contract. Once you get over 50 employees, then the carriers will want to start asking some health questions. And it's not to decline you for coverage, but is
Hmm.
to give you better ratings. So if you have a young group, a very healthy group, then you're going to see that reflected in the rates that they propose to you. And so I'm able to facilitate that process on a group basis.
Okay, speaking of which, though, are you limited to the parameters or distance for coverage? Are you able to help people that are only in the city of Dunwoody or Sandy Springs?
No, I can do statewide here in Georgia, and then I'm also licensed in multiple states in the Southeast. So whether that's the Carolinas, North or South of Carolina,
Mhm.
Texas, Virginia, and then going up into the Midwest now through Illinois, Indiana, as well as Pennsylvania is one of my newest states as well. Oh, and let me
Okay.
not forget Florida.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, don't forget the Sunshine State.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now insurance for me, even though I spent years working at Kaiser Permanente and understanding and talking about benefits and outlining the evidence of coverages and what do you call
Mhm.
it, member benefits communications, it's
Mhm.
still like constantly evolving and changing over time. So there's so many new things that pop up or creep up that you're not familiar with. And so is there a place on your website where people can kind of go and explore and get more insight about various plans that may be available? Or what path do you suggest or recommend? Do you want them to give you a call for a quote? Or how can they just really understand that landscape before they just jump into a conversation and talking about like just the facts or the figures?
Yeah, what I always encourage, I mean, I do have a website out there that has some basic information that's available to you. But to really to get to more personalized, customized experience,
Mhm.
I always suggest people go ahead and give me a call. We can set up a time because especially from a group, one group's benefits can be drastically different to another group because it might be industry or age or what the employees have requested. Same thing on an individual basis, whether you have a family or not,
Mhm.
whether you travel, whether you utilize a lot of services because of what your current situation is. It's always good to have a conversation so that way I can kind of direct all of the different plans and carriers that are available to be more specific to you and what you specifically need for yourself or your business.
Okay, now I was just on your website and you mentioned travel.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think I saw a blurb that said, people think that they're covered when they travel, when they have insurance, but maybe they are, maybe they're not.
Yes. So I wanted to specifically highlight international travel because a lot of times people, when you have your coverage here in United States, you feel that it's just going to it's going to go with you wherever you travel by cruise, by plane, wherever overseas. And
Mhm.
what I always like to tell people is your plan here in the United States is a domestic policy. So if you're going to travel overseas per se, there are certain countries that if you were to get ill and you go
Mhm.
into the hospital, they won't even let you leave the hospital without payment. So I always suggest having an international health insurance plan or policy for yourself, either whether you're traveling for leisurely, excuse
Mhm.
me, or if you are actually have employees that are traveling overseas for business. And the way in that way they always have first dollar coverage for emergency and non-emergency coverage. And this is especially true if you have mission, if your business is a mission, or if you have exchange students. It's always
Mm.
important to make sure that they have international coverage while they're outside of the U.S.
Wow, that's really insightful. I hadn't really thought about it quite that way. I
Mhm.
always feel like you can get the travel insurance that they offer or use your credit cards
Mhm.
to have the insurance, but it's definitely, something that we should consider when we're traveling internationally.
Mhm.
So tell me, like, the top three things that people should keep in mind as we navigate this new benefit season.
Okay. Well, the first thing that I always like to tell people is think about the convenience of care. A lot of plans, especially on the individual side this year, there's a lot more options and carriers that have come to the market.
Mhm.
Some that have been in the individual market before or the group market before, but are returning. So you want to make sure that the access to care makes sense for your family or your employees,
Okay.
whether that's with the plan design itself, the network that's available, the added benefits that's attached to it, all of that kind of wraps, it kind of comes around to the care part. Convenience, I always say, is also very important. Can you get to an urgent care uh, uh, provider facility pretty quickly? Is the network large enough so that if you needed to get to someone quickly, you can, and it's very accessible? And then lastly, of course, there's always cost. So it's always important to kind of shop around. As a result, on the individual side, as a result of the American Rescue Plan, there's some additional subsidies that are available to people that may not have gotten any before. So
Hmm.
it's a good time, especially this year with the extended open enrollment going through January, that you kind of take a look at your plan, or even go ahead and enroll in the plan for the first time if you've been without coverage.
Okay, well, this was definitely helpful for me because
Yeah.
when you said the extended enrollment period, so is that universal? So everyone has until June, the late
January,
January?
just for folks on the individual side. So if you're
Okay.
looking on the either on or off the marketplace, what I
Mhm.
was called healthcare.gov, you have an additional 30 days that you didn't have before. So normally open enrollment was November 1st through December 15th. It's actually going
Mhm.
through January 15th next year. And that's really as the result of the American Rescue Plan and still trying to recover from the pandemic.
Got it. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today and to help me understand a little bit more about what we need to get prepared for as we navigate this benefits and open enrollment season. I thank you so much to all of you out there tuning in, and thank you. Hopefully, you will come back again for our next Eye for Business.
Uh, Thank you for having me.